Hello there and welcome back to the 2023 British Truck Racing Championship season. My name's Pointy and you're about to see some fantastic racing action as we go through the year. Just looking behind me, we've got drivers briefing going on as we speak as they're all gearing up for the first race of the weekend.
Have you seen this trailer? If you have, take a photo when safe and then send it to us. All for a chance to win one of our 5 miniature truck and trailers.
TotalCare's T8 range of mobile column lifts provides a highly flexible lifting solution for any commercial vehicle workshop. Easy to manoeuvre, the columns can be used across different lifting bays within the workshop and can be stored out of the way when not in use. The super strong lifts can support up to a 7,500 kg capacity per column and can be configured in sets of 4, 6 or 8. Adjustable wheel forks provide flexibility for lifting a variety of vehicles and wheel diameters.
Hello there and welcome back to the 2023 British Truck Racing Championship season. My name's Pointy and you're about to see some fantastic racing action as we go through the year. Just looking behind me, we've got drivers briefing going on as we speak as they're all gearing up for the first race of the weekend.
Have you seen this trailer? If you have, take a photo when safe and then send it to us. All for a chance to win one of our 5 miniature truck and trailers.
TotalCare's T8 range of mobile column lifts provides a highly flexible lifting solution for any commercial vehicle workshop. Easy to manoeuvre, the columns can be used across different lifting bays within the workshop and can be stored out of the way when not in use. The super strong lifts can support up to a 7,500 kg capacity per column and can be configured in sets of 4, 6 or 8. Adjustable wheel forks provide flexibility for lifting a variety of vehicles and wheel diameters. Speak to our team today for more information or a bespoke quote.
Well, with Parc Fermé dropping into silence, all the drivers are out on track now, so let's head to Dave in the commentary box for some racing action.
Green Biofuels Advanced GD Plus fuel made from waste-derived cooking oils and fats, supercharged with engine-enhancing additive. So greener fuels being used by the British Truck Racing Championship this year, which is great to see. So they're off and rolling then. Looks like we got us a convoy here at Brands Hatch. A convoy of what should have been 19 trucks. Paul Rivett, sadly a non-starter. Tom O'Rourke will start from the pit lane. Ryan Smith in that aggressive-looking number 1, the Daimler Freightliner, run by Worldwide Truck Racing. Check them out on social media for more updates. Oh yes, I'm looking forward to this. Will Ryan Smith kick off his title defence with a victory? Be a new name on top in Division 2 this year. It was Luke Garrett who took the Division 2 title last year, but not on the grid this season. I think he's planning to race in Europe as well. Looking back from Stuart Oliver as they head along the Cooper Straight, the pace truck leading them round, ready to unleash these 19, well, it should have been 19, there are a couple missing, these 5-ton, 1,000 horsepower beasts. Biggest machines in British motorsports. Ready to rumble here at Brands Hatch, a brand new season for the British Truck Racing Championship. There's Jim Bennett in the classic Seddon Atkinson Strata at the back. Great to have the truck racing veteran back after a couple of years away. Here we go then. Pace truck is in pit lane. Ryan Smith and Dave Jenkins, the arch rivals, lead them up towards the red lights. It's time to go truck racing in 2023. Wait for the power to come on. The pack is unleashed and here we go down towards Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. Ryan Smith takes the lead from the inside line ahead of David Jenkins. Now are they all going to get round Paddock Bend okay for the first time? John Bowler running up wide on the outside line. Looks like they've all made it round the Division 1 trucks. It's flying Ryan Smith who leads up towards Druids Hill Bend for the first time. We go on board with Jock Borthwick in the 32. He's swinging right through and he's been hit. Jock Borthwick's tangled up with Stephen Powell. They go off. Oh, Michael Oliver's caught up as well. Bradley Smith's gone off too. Well, 4 trucks involved there. Borthwick's getting going again. And well, it's certainly first day back at school, isn't it? 4 trucks off at Druids. Let's hope they can continue. Ryan Smith leads from David Jenkins. Stuart Oliver third. There's a hole been created in the field there already. The first 4 left clear as a result of that tangle. The Reed brothers in 4th and 5th. There's mayhem at Druids, and not surprisingly, the red flag is coming out. Well, Bradley Smith's truck stranded there. Looks like the left front suspension may be broken. A lot of contact there in the Druids. There's bits of bodywork everywhere. Look at the state of Jock Borthwick's truck, and that's just the first half lap of the season. A baptism of fire for him in Division 1. On board with the 32 truck as he makes his way. He's going to have to come into the pits to get that checked. A crack in the windscreen as well. No, he's not going into the pits, he's heading up to the grid. So the trucks will be reassembled on the grid. The marshals will then go to work up at Druids Hill Bend, and it'll be the first job of the weekend for Trackside Recovery. They manage all the car and truck recoveries here at Brands Hatch with their fleet of vehicles. We'll see how a race truck is recovered after an incident here. Let's take another look and see what happened there. They charged their way up to Druids for the first time. Watch the 32 and the 3. Stephen Powell just charged kamikaze up the inside there and sent everyone else skittling, I think is what happened. Dear oh dear. 4 of them off. And luckily everybody else was able to get through on the inside. Bradley Smith there, looks like his steering was broken. He went into the gravel. Well, that was just an over-optimistic move, I would say, there from Stephen Powell. Just charged up the inside, clipped Jock Borthwick first of all, sent him spinning around. He went into Bradley Smith, and then they charged into Michael Oliver and sent him into the gravel. Borthwick was able to get going again, so were Powell and Oliver eventually. Bradley Smith's truck stuck there and debris everywhere. On board with Jock Borthwick. He was tapped once on the way towards Druids, and then again. I wonder if Stephen Powell had a brake problem there, because he just didn't seem to slow at first at all there. And then just went straight on. Jock Borthwick quickly on the throttle and away. And now they've got to clear the wreckage. Told incidents involving trucks 312 and 46 will be investigated after the race. They're ready for a restart over 12 minutes. The pace truck leads them round. Let's try again with the season opener for the British Truck Racing Championship. All 4 of the Division 2 trucks back out there. There's Adam Bintz, very smart looking DAF of number 6, John Powell alongside. Craig Evans and Jim Bennett behind. Shame we haven't got Paul Rivette out there. Hopefully he can fix his gearbox issues. He'll be back out later in the weekend. Ricky Collett at the back of Division 1. Division 1, the more powerful, more modified machines. So no Michael Oliver on the grid. Jock Borthwick has headed back into pit lane. We'll wait to see if they do join in from the pit lane. Bradley Smith is there. Ryan Smith, no relation, and David Jenkins on the front row. Here we go then, let's try again. There's Craig Evans, number 10. Repaired his truck overnight after he blew his gearbox in testing yesterday. Ready for a restart. The pace truck is in pit lane. Ryan Smith and David Jenkins ready to lead them off once again. Waiting for the red lights to go out. And we're back underway. Super start by Ryan Smith. David Jenkins moves across to protect second place, but Ryan Smith's away and gone already. He's about 3 truck lengths clear as they head into Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. Side by side between Simon Reed and Stuart Oliver for third. Bradley Smith round the outside into 5th position as they thunder their way up towards Druids. Let's hope they all get round this time. Stephen Powell positioning himself on the inside once again, but he's got it slowed up this time, just ahead of John Bowler on his Division 1 debut. They're all round Druids okay for the first time. Adam Bint leads Division 2 down into Graham Hill Bend for the first time. Division 2 staying with Division 1 for the moment. Simon Cole just ahead of Adam Bint there. Bint leads Division 2 in the Volvo Whites, the older Volvo than Stuart Oliver's example. As they come round towards Clearways for the first time, and Stephen Powell's off again. There is something wrong with that truck. Whether it's steering or brakes, I'm not sure, but again, it just didn't turn there going into Surtees. Luckily, he didn't collect anybody that time. I think that's going to be end of race for Stephen Powell. At least he hasn't got far to go to get spares, based on the same road as Brands Hatch outside the circuit. Over the line they go. Simon Cole might be in trouble here as well. He's dropped back behind some of the Division 2 runners there. There's Tom O'Rourke as well. He's up to speed once again. So it is Ryan Smith who leads from Jenkins, Simon Reed, Stuart Oliver, Bradley Smith, John Bowler. Then it's Craig Reed in 7th place. Simon Faulkner going well, learning all the time. His 2nd full season of truck racing. Tom O'Rourke's got past Simon Cole in the number 41. No Michael Oliver out there or Jock Borthwick. Damage from the incident at the start of the race. There is O'Rourke coming through. He's eager to make up for lost time after losing his pole position. Charge their way along the Cooper Straights up to the completion of their 2nd lap. Ryan Smith, we'll see what lap time he sets this time through. 58.103. Fantastic lap for Ryan Smith. He's already nearly 2 seconds clear of David Jenkins at the front of the field, with Simon Reed in 3rd. There's Ricky Collett over the line in 9th place, chasing Simon Faulkner, who's running well in the Iveco, chasing Craig Reed. Adam Bint behind them rounds out the top 10 overall, and he leads Division 2, looking for his first title since 2016 in that Volvo. John Powell, second in Division 2. He could have to cede to the quicker Division 1 truck of Tom O'Rourke. There's a battle developing between Faulkner and the very experienced Ricky Collett. Down into Graham Hill Bend. Ricky Collett. It's his heavy haulage company based up in Halifax, hauling some of the biggest loads seen on lorries in the UK. There's Adam Bint behind them. O'Rourke's got ahead of John Powell now, trying to catch his fellow Division 1 runners. Ryan Smith continues to extend his lead. 2 seconds clear now of David Jenkins. Simon Reed in third. Stuart Oliver, the 10 times champion, is fourth. Bradley Smith, none the worse for that tangle on the first start, is rounding out the top 5. Craig Reed, John Bowler, sorry, in 6th place ahead of Craig Reed. Ricky Collett has a look there at Paddock Hill Bend on that newly liveried number 92 truck, and it's very dark grey livery. Brilliant looking truck that is. Collett has another look at Druids. I don't think he'll get through there. They're fairly well strung out other than this battle in this first race of the season for the British Truck Racing Championship. O'Rourke made up 2 places on that lap past the Division 2 runners. Not surprisingly, Stephen Powell has pulled into the pits. So there's 15 trucks running now. Out of the 18 that took the start, the 19 that are here. John Bowler runs a little bit wide there coming through Clearways, chased by Craig Reed, the man from Stoke. The Reed brothers took 5 race wins between them last season. Simon took 4. Craig, in the season finale here at Brands Hatch, got his maiden Division 1 win, former Division 2 champion 2 years ago. With a couple of tenths pulled out by Ryan Smith at the front of the field, he continues to lead. Already well into this restart. 7.5 minutes to go. The lead group is well strung out. We concentrate on this battle between Faulkner and Collett. These 2 are closest at the moment. Craig Reed has been given the black and white driving standards flag for exceeding track limits. Any further breaches and he could get a penalty. Simon Faulkner bounces over the curve in the Iveco Stralis, one of 3 Ivecos on the grid. Over the line they go. The lead gap is now up to 3 seconds. Ryan Smith pulled away by nearly a full second that time around. Tom O'Rourke's got ahead of our Division 2 leader. There is the Oxfordshire driver, number 5, Adam Bint, in the Volvo white Aerodyne. Should be a Volvo black really in that livery, shouldn't it? That was the first truck to use the new HVO fuel, as Ricky Collett finally gets past Simon Faulkner. Been trying that for about 5 laps. And moves up into 8th position. Now down to the business of trying to catch Craig Reed ahead of them. They're a couple of seconds back on the Iveco. There it is, chasing John Bowler. Good smooth run on his Division 1 debut. He's looking to get some points on the board. It's 15 points for a win, 14 for second, down to 1 point for 15th place. Bonus point for pole position and for the fastest lap. Fastest lap of Division 1 currently with Ryan Smith. There he is, starting his title defence perfectly, as he always does here at Brands Hatch. He's nearly 4 seconds clear of David Jenkins now. No stopping the Daimler Freightliner, sponsored by Northside Truck and Van Limited, run by Worldwide Truck Racing. I know Ryan would dearly love to go and compete in the European Championship Sunday, budget permitting. But first, he wants to match Stuart Oliver's record of 10 British Championships. David Jenkins in second, champion back in 2011. Simon Reed, could we see him on top in Division 1 in years to come? Stuart Oliver giving chase. He's been there, seen it, done it and won it in truck racing. He was European champion a few years ago as well. There's a gap back to Bradley Smith, the youngest man in the race, just 23 years of age. He first competed in a truck race before he was old enough to have an HGV licence. It's only an ARDS licence, Association of Racing Driver Schools licence, that you need to race trucks. Just over 4.5 minutes of this first truck race of the season to go, the first of 5 this weekend. A couple more black and white flags going out. Number 10, Craig Evans, and number 89, Simon Reed. Just a warning for exceeding track limits. Things having settled down on this restart after that incident first time out. Adam Bint continues to lead Division 2. He's the favourite for the title this year, along with Paul Rivette if he gets his truck up and running. Had 4 wins, Adam Bint, last year. It's the battle for second. John Powell in the number 6, the DAF LF. 6 wins last season, was only 4th in the points in Division 2. Craig Evans behind has yet to win a race. He's had a few podiums though, a consistent driver more than rapid. Made his debut in 2019. There's a battle further back. Ricky Collins has got ahead of John Bowler. Chasing now Craig Reed. It's the fight for 6th position. So Ricky Collins has closed up. Bowler's dropped a couple of spots there. The number 14, he's sideways coming off Graham Hill Bend. I thought he was going to spin it there. Just getting used to the power of his new number 14 MAN. Simon Faulkner in behind him. 3 minutes to go. Ryan Smith leads by over 4.5 seconds now. Looking set to take his now traditional opening race victory here at Brands Hatch. Second fastest times from qualifying for each driver will decide the grid for race 2 later on, and then we get into the reverse grids for the rest of the weekend, where the top 8 in each division get reversed on the grid based on results of previous races. We'll do the top 8 in Division 1 and all 4 or 5 in Division 2. Battle for 6th continues, headed by Craig Reed. And Craig, I've just been informed, Craig Reed has been given a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits. He was given the warning earlier on. So Craig Reed will get a 5-second penalty added to his race time for exceeding track limits. Simon Cole has just got the black and white flag as well. So the officials being pretty hot on track limit breaches. Well, there's our leader. Ryan Smith leads by 5.2 seconds. David Jenkins is 2.5 seconds clear of Simon Reed. The leader coming up to lap Simon Cole in the number 41. Jim Bennett, I think, has already been lapped in his Seddon Atkinson. Seddon Atkinson, quite a classic name in British trucks. Used to be based up in Lancashire. I believe they were taken over by Iveco several years ago. Simon Cole has been lapped. There's just over a minute left on the clock, so we might get 2 more laps out of this. Such is the pace being set by Fly-In Ryan. What's the gap going to be this time? It was 5.2, it's now 5.6 seconds. So another 0.4 of a second stretch clear. Simon Reed another 2.5 seconds back in 3rd in Division 1. Adam Bint continues to set the pace in Division 2. He's 3 seconds clear of John Powell. There's Craig Evans behind Powell in 3rd in Division 2. Ricky Collett still ahead of John Bowler. Craig Reed still ahead of them, and he's got that penalty which will be added on. There's Jim Bennett being lapped in the Seddon Atkinson. It's good to have Gentleman Jim back in the championship. Been away for a few years. He's rebuilt the Seddon Atkinson for this year. Tom O'Rourke behind there. Tom's up to 10th place, the last of the Division 1 runners, with the exception of Simon Cole, who's just getting dialed in after only a one-off appearance last year. As across the line goes Ryan Smith, some 14 seconds left on the clock as he comes up to the line to start his final lap. Over 6 seconds clear now of David Jenkins. It's been pretty much a stroll in the park here at Brands Hatch. The first race of this new Daimler Freightliner. It has worked absolutely perfectly for Ryan, the man from Nottinghamshire, in the worldwide truck racing Daimler. Through Graham Hill Bend for the last time. Simon Faulkner, I can tell you, may have got ahead of John Bowler further back, but John Bowler having issues with his transponder. No, he is still 8th. But here comes Flying Ryan into clear ways for the final time. A perfect start to the defence of his British truck racing title. Is it going to be 8 in a row? Well, if his luck keeps up like this and his speed keeps up, it's certainly very likely. Ryan Smith opens the season with a victory. Second place will go to David Jenkins. The gap 6.233 seconds at the line. Third place for Simon Reed. And Stuart Oliver a lonely 4th. An equally lonely 5th is going to go to Bradley Smith, on the worst for that spill on the opening lap. And then 6th place across the line will be Craig Reed, but wait to see where that penalty places him. Over the line goes Craig Reed. I don't think he's got 5 seconds clear of those behind him, so 6th will go to Ricky Collett. John Bowler on his Division 1 debut 7th. Craig Reed ends up 8th. Simon Faulkner is 9th, and Tom O'Rourke will round out the top 10, having started from the pit lane. In Division 2, meanwhile, the win goes to Adam Bint in the Volvo White Aerodyne in 11th overall. John Powell holds off Craig Evans for 2nd, and a lap down Simon Cole will finish 14th, and Jim Bennett the final finisher in 15th. Congratulations to Flying Ryan Smith. A dominant display to kick off his 2023 season. Bad luck to those who suffered damage in that race, but the result confirmed Ryan Smith the winner by 6.23 seconds over David Jenkins, with Simon Reed over 3 seconds back in 3rd place. Stuart Oliver and Bradley Smith racing pretty much on their own towards the end of that one in 4th and 5th. And then a long gap back to Ricky Collett in 6th position. John Bowler a good 7th. Craig Reed a 5-second penalty dropping him to 8th. And Simon Faulkner and Tom O'Rourke rounding out the top 10. Adam Bint wins Division 2 in 11th overall. He finished some 3 seconds ahead of John Powell. Craig Evans 3rd in that division, ahead of the Division 1 truck of Simon Cole in 14th. Jim Bennett the final finisher in 15th in the Seddon Atkinson. Stephen Powell pulled into the pits with problems after that shunt. And of course, Michael Oliver and Jock Borthwick didn't take the restart. Well, a lively opener then for the British Truck Racing Championship for 2023. Look back at some highlights of that first race. Well, the main talking point was on the opening lap when Stephen Powell went straight on at Druids and claimed 3 other trucks as a result. Jock Borthwick, Michael Oliver and Bradley Smith. They would eventually all drop out. Stephen Powell would take the restart, but it wouldn't last long for him. Borthwick and Michael Oliver's races were done for good. Seeing it from Jock Borthwick's point of view, wallop, straight round and straight into the gravel trap. So a fairly chaotic opening lap. That led to the red flags coming out. Restart didn't last long for Stephen Powell. His truck went straight on at Surtees over the grass, and that was the end of his race. And from there on, it was a dominant display by Ryan Smith. The main battle in the early stages was between Ricky Collett, John Bowler and Simon Faulkner further back in the order. They later caught up with Craig Reed. See them lapping Jim Bennett there, but Ryan Smith was away and gone out in front for his usual dominant season opening victory. Over 6 seconds clear at flag fall of his rival David Jenkins.
Congratulations on your first place.
I don't want to. I want to go over again because it's so important to me. This we built a brand new truck, first new truck we've ever had. As I've just said, Arnie Aaron Parkin is not seeing his family in 8 days solid. He stayed in the garage. Billy the same. Libby had time off from work. Adam just they've worked tirelessly and we've built it all ourselves. And I want to say a big thank you to Tim and Melanie Frost at Unit 8 because they supplied us some parts that without them with timing that we just never got. So, and of course all my sponsors. I don't want to take any credit for that win. The truck deserves it, the team deserves it, and the partners deserve it. But
must have been the autopilot that won the race then. Fantastic, well done Ryan, congratulations, great start to the season. We have obviously had a bit of damage if we look over to your left here. Poor old Michael Oliver, not a great start. Again, not even his doing or his fault. But we've had issues on the second corner, first race. Michael, that wasn't even your doing. I know you probably don't want to talk to us, but you know, you are completely oblivious to what was going on behind you.
No, I knew exactly what was going on.
Oh, right.
We just couldn't do out about it. Honestly, from last year, I reckon I will eventually finish a lap.
Yeah. I mean, is there a thing of start how you mean to go on, or we think we're just getting it out of the way early on?
Next question.
Okay, fine. When you start, well, watch your back, cameraman. Come to me, Adam. Come hither, so he doesn't get destroyed by the wrecker. There we go. He's gone. He's sweet. Okay. What's actually damaged? Are we talking, you know, back out after lunch, or are we going to have to look what's actually wrong with it?
Oh, we'll be back out, but the back axle's come out. The water tank's punctured, which isn't a problem. I don't need water.
Doesn't need water.
No, but the back axle's got to be in.
Right. Yeah, that makes it the wheels move, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I might need a tyre.
Couple. Yeah. Do you know anyone that does tyres?
I know, good company. Good company.
Googly Woogle?
Googly Woogle.
Well, I'm glad you're keeping high spirits, Michael. Condolences for that first race, but there's a whole season ahead of us, and I'm sure. Always fun to be around Michael Oliver, putting a smile on the darkest of situations. Quick repairs all round after the incident in race 1, but race 2 is now upon us. Let's see if they can make up for some lost time.
Let's have a look at the grid then for race number 2 for the British Truck Racing Championship this weekend. This is based on the second fastest times in qualifying. Ryan Smith, number 1, will start on pole alongside number 69 David Jenkins in the MAN. Second row, number 7 Stuart Oliver and 89 Simon Reed. Row 3, 32 Jock Borthwick. A lot of damage from race 1. Good to see he's repaired the truck. Start alongside 46 Bradley Smith. Row 4, number 3 Stephen Powell. He's repaired as well. Start alongside 14 John Bowler. On the 5th row, 92 Simon Faulkner, although I can see in the background there his truck moving forward. Has he had a problem, I wonder? Starts alongside number 12 Michael Oliver. Hopefully he'll get to start this race. Row 6, 68 Craig Reed and 41 Simon Cole. I didn't see him as the trucks came up to the grid, so we'll wait to see if Simon's there. And completing the Division 1 field, number 95 Ricky Collitz. Then we move back to Division 2. Craig Evans, number 10 on pole, alongside number 6 of John Powell. And number 5 Adam Bint, the winner of race 1, and 28 Gentleman Jim Bennett. 86 Tom O'Rourke, as explained, will start from the pit lane after his qualifying times were disallowed due to that infringement, where he exceeded the 100-mile-an-hour speed limit. The speed recording device was not activated in his truck during qualifying. Ryan Smith looking for 2 wins out of 2. Scored 14 wins on his way to the title last year. David Jenkins alongside him. Stuart Oliver and Simon Reed on row 2. Jock Borthwick and Bradley Smith on the 3rd row. And Stephen Powell and John Bowler. Michael Oliver alone on row 5. We ride with Jock Borthwick as they come through clearways. The pace truck is in pit lane. Looking back from Simon Reed's truck as the revs begin to rise. Here we go. Up towards the red lights when they go out. Get ready to feel the thunder as the power comes on from these 1,000 horsepower engines. Here we go with race 2 of the weekend for the British Truck Racing Championship. Ryan Smith will take the lead as they go into Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. Stuart Oliver trying to get through on the inside there. He can't quite get alongside David Jenkins. We ride with Jock Borthwick alongside Bradley Smith. Looking back now from Simon Reed as they head up towards Druids for the first time. Will they all make it round Druids Hill Bend this time? Smith leads from Jenkins. Oliver side by side for 4th between Bradley Smith and Simon Reed. Reed moves through on the inside. We look back from Simon Reed. There's Bradley Smith behind us. Then it is Jock Borthwick, the Scotsman. Then Michael Oliver. He's got away well. Stephen Powell just behind him as they file their way down to Cooper Straight for the first time. It's called Cooper Straight. It isn't quite straight. Up towards the left at Surtees, the right at McLaren. Ryan Smith has the early lead from Jenkins, Oliver, Reed, Smith, Borthwick. Oliver Jr. is next in the order. Division 2 is being led by the look of it by John Powell. There's Paul Rivett, just waiting for the right time to make his move from the back of the field. They complete the first lap then, with Ryan Smith already over a second clear of David Jenkins at the front of the field. Over the line they go. Let's see where Tom O'Rourke can get up to around this opening lap. At the tail of the field at the moment, I think. Make sure he comes through on this lap. Yes, he has. On board with Jock Borthwick, chasing Bradley Smith on the run up towards Druids. You can see the heavy roll caging in the cab of these trucks. Simon Reed has pulled out a gap over the 46 of Bradley Smith. They're just getting settled into this 15-minute race. Already the first four have pulled away slightly. Fifth place is Bradley Smith, then Jock Borthwick, then it's Michael Oliver and his rather battered MAN after the contact earlier on. Seems to be a bit of a damage magnet over the last couple of seasons, unfortunately. And hang on, the red flag is coming out. What has happened? Oh, that's what's happened. It's Tom O'Rourke. He's in the gravel at Paddock Hill Bend. It's quite a long way up Paddock Hill Bend towards Halewood Rise. So what has happened there? That'll need a tow from trackside recovery. Hopefully there's not too much damage there and they can quickly get the truck out of the gravel. Try and see what's happened there in a moment, I think. As the race is stopped again, another truck in the gravel at Paddock Hill Bend. It's the unfortunate Tom O'Rourke. He's not having a happy weekend so far, sadly. See if we can see what's happened. Back of the field, coming down Paddock Hill Bend, he runs wide. Yeah, the truck just straightened up in the middle of the bend. I don't know whether something broke in the steering perhaps there. And into the gravel he goes. Great shame for the Scotsman. Let's try again then. Ryan Smith on pole, looking to make it 2 wins out of 2. This will be a 12-minute race now. This has happened in race 1. David Jenkins, number 69, alongside him. The TRP pace truck leading them round. Second row, Stuart Oliver, the 10 times champion, alongside 89, Simon Reed. Then we've got Jock Borthwick, who's done a considerable amount of repair work for his truck after that collision with Stephen Powell in race 1. Stephen Powell received a reprimand from the steward, incidentally, as was judged to be at fault for that collision, while Jock Borthwick also received a warning for an unsafe rejoin as he got going again in front of Tom O'Rourke in that first race. A little bit of disciplinary news update there. Fourth row, the grid, Stephen Powell and John Bowler, the Division 1 debutants. Michael Oliver's there, Craig Reed, Ricky Collins, no Simon Faulkner or Simon Cole. Then our 5 Division 2 trucks, headed by Craig Evans, looking for his first win in the category in his MAN. It's the Daimler Freightliner on pole. Such an aggressive looking machine, just like the Volvo behind the bonneted trucks. And Stuart Oliver. Those first 3 on the grid, 18 championships between them. Watch for Paul Rivette from the back. Adam Bintz in ahead of him, going for 2 wins out of 2. Here we go, ready for 12 minutes of truck racing. Well done to the recovery teams there. Getting Tom O'Rourke back to the paddock. Hopefully we'll see him back out tomorrow. Smith and Jenkins lead them up towards the red lights. The power comes on and away they go. Quick start by Stuart Oliver. Watch the number 7. He could get past David Jenkins here in the second place. He won't get ahead of Ryan Smith. But I think Oliver's got the inside line. Yes, he's up into second place as they head down Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. 1 or 2 trucks running wide. Got 1 into the gravel. That's Michael Oliver. John Bowler's run wide as well. Oliver keeps his foot in. He keeps it going at the back of the Division 1 group. Will they all get round Druids? Okay, Bradley Smith running wide in the 46 truck. It's Smith who leads from Oliver. Jenkins. Jock Borthwick is in 4th place. And it's Simon Reed, Stephen Powell, Bradley Smith. Next through is Craig Reed, then Bowler, Collett. Michael Oliver recovering from that off, missing the side panel you can see on the number 12 truck. As they start to sort themselves out around this Brands Hatch Indy circuit. We'll look back quickly to see who's leading Division 2. It's John Powell who's got away best in the DAF, number 6, ahead of Craig Evans and Adam Bintz. Oh, Michael Oliver's incident-packed weekend continuing. I had a bad feeling he was going to get bogged down in the gravel there, but he kept it going. Ryan Smith will lead as they complete the first lap. Then he's already over a second clear of Stuart Oliver in 2nd place. Now into Paddock Hill Bend we ride with Jock Borthwick chasing now David Jenkins. Good start from Borthwick, up into 4th place ahead of Simon Reed. Through the roller coaster first part of the lap, through the dust and a bit of smoke that was kicked up last time through. Round Druids and then dropped down again into the left-hander at Graham Hill Bend. Simon Reed putting Jock Borthwick under a little bit of pressure. Then it's Stephen Powell in the number 3 in 6th position, the local man. Bradley Smith has dropped back to 7th. But Ryan Smith already starting to put clear air between himself and Stuart Oliver in the GT Tyres Volvo in 2nd place. Craig Reed in behind Bradley Smith. Looking back to see the leader of Division 2 is still John Powell ahead of Craig Evans, Adam Bint and Paul Rivett. Jim Bennett in the older Seddon Atkinson has already dropped away. It's good to have Gentleman Jim back in the championship this year. Certainly one of the friendliest teams in the paddock, the Team Bennett squad. Up the hill towards Druids, and Jock Borthwick a little bit wide there over the curve. He almost dropped onto the gravel, holds it together, swings it in. Up on the inside there's Simon Reed, and he goes through, forces Jock Borthwick to go wide. It's a good move by Simon Reed. Good aggression from the Iveco pilot up into 4th position. Down to 5th goes Borthwick in the white and tartan liveried MAN. The colours of My Name's Doddy. Heard in the break between races all about the fundraising efforts going on this season for motor neurone disease. Campaign started by rugby legend Donny Weir. Ricky Collett staying ahead of Michael Oliver. Ricky Collett with a down on power engine this weekend. He's had a few engine problems, that truck, over the last couple of seasons. Had a nasty crash with it at Thruxton back in 2020. Oh, and say engine problems, a great flash of flame. Goodness me. Ricky Collett needs to get out of there. He slides it to a halt against the barrier. Well stopped, Ricky Collett. I hope that's truck is not going to burst into flames. Something blew up there. I hope that was just the turbo and not the engine going for a burden. Ricky Collett very much out of the race. Just as I said, having engine problems. Curse of the commentator there. Sorry, Ricky. I was saying he had a big accident at Thruxton back in 2020 when he rolled the truck over, having got onto the wet grass. And he's out of this one, and I hope that's not the end of his weekend. Hopefully he's not dropped any oil there either down the Sir Jack Brabham straights. Through go the leaders. Ryan Smith leads by over 3 seconds now ahead of Stuart Oliver, David Jenkins, Simon Reed up to 4th. Let's have a look again there as they came down the straight. Watch the back of Ricky Collett's truck here. Bang! Something went up in a big way there. Hopefully that's not the engine detonating, hoping it's just the turbo. Slid it onto the grass into retirement. Stuart Oliver staying ahead of David Jenkins. It's still John Powell leading Division 2. Adam Bint in 3rd place behind Craig Evans, looking for his double. Down the Cooper Straights, left of Surtees, right of McLaren. Many of the corners here at Brands Hatch named after great names from the world of motorsport in Britain and beyond. David Jenkins trying to chase down Stuart Oliver for 2nd place. The midfield quite spaced out now. Bradley Smith running wide. In fact, I think the red flag is out again. Yes, the red flag has come out, presumably to deal with Ricky Collett's truck. See if things are okay down there on the entry to paddock, and we'll wait to see what will happen with this race. We were not yet at half distance. There were around just over 7 minutes left on the clock, so whether there will be a restart or not, we'll have to wait and see. Race leader Ryan Smith had completed 4 laps. We'll have to await official news on what's going to happen here. Outcome trackside recovery again. Yes, because Ricky Collett, where that truck has stopped, would be in the firing line if anybody was to slide off to the inside of paddock. Marshall's likely wanting to check there's no risk of any fire there as well after that blow up for Ricky Collett. I hope that's not the end of his weekend. You can see where he stopped there, just on the entry to paddock on the inside against the barrier. See it again here. Watch the back of the yellow MAN. Boom. Big explosion. Ricky Collett instantly knew what had happened and he steered the truck to an almost instant halt there. He's got the brakes locked on, as you can see, and just bumps the barrier as he brings it to a halt. That was good decisive driving there by Ricky Collett as he felt the explosion behind him as the either the turbo or the engine let go. There is the British truck racing veteran.
Well, that did bring a very abrupt and unfortunate end to race 2 yesterday, with Ricky Collett dropping a piston, which for those at home means basically his engine exploded and bits of inside metal turned into bits of outside metal. But today is a fresh day and it's time for race 3 here at the British Truck Racing Championships.
The British Truck Racing Championship making its way to the grid then for their third race of the weekend. It was a bit of an incident-packed day yesterday. We had a tangle at Druids on the first lap of race 1, and then race 2 called early after a blow-up for Ricky Collett. Unfortunately, he won't be on the grid for this race. It looks like he has withdrawn from the weekend after a spectacular exit from yesterday's second race. The grid is based on the results of race 1 yesterday, but with the top 8 in Division 1 reversed and the full Division 2 field reversed because they have 5 entries. So the grid lines up as follows. It's Division 1 newcomer John Bowler who will start on pole in number 14, his MAN, alongside the Iveco of number 68, Craig Reed. Second row, number 46, Bradley Smith in his MAN, alongside the 10 times champion, number 7, Stuart Oliver in the Volvo VNL. Row 3, the Iveco of Simon Reed, number 89, alongside 69 of David Jenkins with his MAN. On row 4, it is the reigning 7-time champion Ryan Smith in the Daimler Freightliner number 1, alongside 92 Simon Faulkner with his Iveco. Row 5, 86 Tom O'Rourke had a tough day yesterday, ended up in the gravel in race 2 and broke the steering on his MAN. Lines up alongside Simon Cole, number 41, with his MAN, graduating to Division 1 this year. Row 6, number 32 Jock Borthwick picked up a fair amount of damage in a collision with Stephen Powell in yesterday's first race, but managed to repair his MAN. Stephen Powell does line up alongside him, and number 12 Michael Oliver with his MAN, son of Stuart, completes the Division 1 grid. Then there's a gap and we move to Division 2. The grid reversed from the results of race 1, so it's Jim Bennett, number 28, in his venerable Seddon Atkinson, who lines up on pole alongside number 10 Craig Evans with his MAN. The number 6 of John Powell in the DAF, he had a win yesterday, as did the man alongside him, number 5 Adam Bint with the Volvo Whites. And completing the grid, number 22 Paul Rivette in his MAN, the Napa Racing MAN. He missed race 1 yesterday, was replacing the gearbox in his MAN, but he is there this time. He's at the back of this grid. It looks like we have, pleasingly, a full complement. The only truck missing has officially withdrawn. That's sadly Ricky Collett, who saw his engine go bang rather spectacularly in race 2 yesterday and deposit oil over the Sir Jack Brabham straight, which led to the race being called early. It's John Bowler on pole in the number 14, the man from Stockport. Stuart Oliver nicely positioned on row 2. He could get down the outside into Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. There's Tom O'Rourke, a poor day for him yesterday, looking for better fortune today. There's Jim Bennett, great to have him back, 73 years young and still going strong, back after a couple of years away in the Seddon Atkinson. Division 2 much more open this year. The defending champion Luke Garrett not out this weekend. We'll wait to see if he reappears later in the season. A couple of drivers that raced in the UK last year, Mark Taylor and John Newell, they're contesting the European Championship this year. I think Luke looking to race in Europe as well. Paul Rivette at the back in the Napa Racing MAN. Watch for him coming through in Division 2. This will be a 15-minute race. Here we go. The big rigs ready to rumble on the Brands Hatch Indy circuits. Bennett alongside Craig Evans looking for his first Division 2 win. There's Adam Bint in the Volvo. John Powell alongside him. They had a win each yesterday. Paul Rivett behind them, the ex-saloon car star. Here we go. John Bowler and Craig Reed lead them up towards the red lights. Over 19,000 horsepower about to be unleashed. Here we go, the power comes on and they're away, down towards Paddock Bend for the first time. Good start by Stuart Oliver, good start by David Jenkins, but it's the two front row men who have the advantage into Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. John Bowler, is he going to keep his nose in front as they go towards Druids, and off wide goes one of our front row men, that was Craig Reed. He's dropped back, just ran over the gravel there, but he's kept it going. There's a bit of slip and slide in the pack, and Stuart Oliver has come through as I expected into the lead. Stuart Oliver leads in the Volvo from fourth on the grid. It's side by side for second, John Bowler and David Jenkins. Great cloud of dust in the background where Craig Reed ran wide. A bit of grass tracking there for Jock Borthwick. 3 wide through Graham Hill Bend. That doesn't work in cars, never mind in trucks. 92 of Simon Faulkner got squeezed in the middle there. Bradley Smith has dropped back a little in the 46. He's battling with the Reed brothers. Wait to see what the order is as they come round to complete the opening lap. Looks like it is Stuart Oliver who's got the lead, and Ryan Smith is in heavy traffic there in the midfield. Stuart Oliver's away and gone in front. David Jenkins having a go at John Bowler for second place. Then it's the first of the Reeds. Which one is that? That's Simon Reed in fourth place. Craig, of course, ran wide on the first corner. Impossible to tell the two Ivecos apart from a distance. David Jenkins trying to go through into second place past John Bowler. They head up towards Druids. Ryan Smith is in traffic at the moment. He was down in sixth at the end of the first lap. Side by side for third. Simon Reed trying to move past John Bowler. David Jenkins has already gone through up into second place. There's Flying Ryan. That's a stunning looking Daimler Freightliner, the bonneted number 1, just ahead of Jock Borthwick in the 32. But look at the lead Stuart Oliver has built up already. He needs to build a good lead, because in case Ryan Smith does get through this traffic, he's having a go at Bradley Smith and John Bowler now. John Bowler holding him off. New to Division 1 this year. On their tails is Jock Borthwick, desperate to make up for a frustrating day yesterday, as is Tom O'Rourke. He's on the tail of Craig Reed. Ryan Smith having a look. There's no way through there on the inside down the Brabham Straights. Stuart Oliver leads. Over 3 seconds clear of David Jenkins. Look at the lead he's got there as he heads out of Paddock Bend. 10 times champion still leads, and John Bowler still holding off Ryan Smith, who now gets a run on the inside up towards Druids Hill Bend. Here he comes on board with Ryan as they go round the right-hander, steering the truck one-handed, keeping his other hand on the gear lever through there. He's got through past the number 14. I think Bowler's lost another place. I think Jock Borthwick may have come through as well. We look back from David Jenkins in second place to Simon Reed's Iveco in third. It's the veteran from the northeast of England, Stuart Oliver, who holds the lead. A spin at the back of the field, that's Jim Bennett, the veteran in the Seddon Atkinson, sliding off at Surtees. He's learning the ropes on his comeback after a couple of years away, possibly a bit race rusty, the veteran. A veteran truck as well as Seddon Atkinson. They haven't been made since about 2006. The Lancashire firm, I think, was bought out by Iveco. Here comes Tom O'Rourke attacking John Bowler. We ride with Flying Ryan Smith. Who's he attacking now? Coming up on the back of, I think that's Bradley Smith, no relation, in the 46. Fighting for fourth position. So Ryan Smith's made up a few spots. Along the Cooper Straight, that's Craig Reed a bit sideways. Michael Oliver's rather battered MAN behind him. Ryan Smith on the tail of the 46 of his namesake Bradley Smith, the youngest man in the race. As the leaders head up towards the line, completing their fourth lap. Just under 11 minutes of the race to go. Jim Bennett's got going again, just being lapped there by David Jenkins and Simon Reed. Gentleman Jim trying to stay out of the way of the Division 1 trucks there. Bradley Smith had to go wide around him there. That could let Ryan Smith in for an attack into Druids. Yes, he's got the inside line. Ryan up the inside, squeezes through and up into fourth place. Now, next target, a little way up the road, is Simon Reed. have a quick look back and see who's leading Division 2. It's Craig Evans, the number 10. One truck getting the black and white flag, which is the driving standards flag. That's Jock Borthwick running in 6th place. But he did cut across the grass at Graham Hill Bend on the opening lap. That's probably why he's got the warning there for exceeding track limits, possibly. Simon Reed staying with David Jenkins. Simon had 4 wins in last year's championship in Division 1. David Jenkins also had 4. He finished a little further down the points chart. David Jenkins was the runner-up last year, in fact, and Simon Reed was down in 7th. Didn't have the consistency to challenge the top runners. I think it was John Newell who finished 3rd in Division 1 in the points last year. He's gone to race on the continent in his MAN this year, the Yorkshireman. We might see him back at Convoy in the Park, possibly at Donington later in the summer. But it's Oliver from Jenkins. Jenkins just ahead of Simon Reed, and look who's charging up in the background. There is Flying Ryan. He's done the fastest lap of the race, 59.307 for the Daimler Freightliner. Steam coming from the wheels of David Jenkins. That's from the water-cooled brakes that these trucks run. Showing how hard David Jenkins is working the brakes. We saw that yesterday as well from the MAN. It's Volvo, MAN, Iveco and Daimler Freightliner. 4 different marks in the top 4 places. Behind them Bradley Smith, Jock Borthwick, then Tom O'Rourke, Michael Oliver. There's John Bowler, he's dropped back to 9th, and there's Stephen Powell. A quiet race for him, and damage to the front of Craig Reed's truck. What has happened there? I know he went wide on the first lap, but looks like the front bumper has come adrift on Craig Reed's truck. He's 11th, ahead of Simon Faulkner. And then we've got the Division 2 runners. Craig Evans is leading them. He's looking for his first ever Division 2 win. He's had a few podiums in the past. New fastest lap of the race for Ryan Smith last time through. 58.876. Can't tell you how long there is to go in the race because the clock on the timing screen isn't working, unfortunately. 7 laps completed this time. There we go, just under 8 minutes. Over the line go the Division 1 leaders. Stuart Oliver's lead has been reduced to 2 seconds now by David Jenkins. But clearing off early at the start like that is exactly what Stuart Oliver wanted to do, because he knows that the likes of Jenkins and Smith will try their hardest to close that gap. So it was important to build it as early as he could. And try and build enough of a lead. Again, a bit like in a cycle race. You've got to break away early. Hope you've built too much of a gap for the others to catch up. Ryan Smith is now on the tail of the 89 of Simon Reed. This is the battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Bradley Smith going well, just behind them. Had a couple of podiums in his first full season last year. He was racing trucks even before he was old enough to have an HGV licence, because the only licence you need to race trucks is an ARDS licence, Association of Racing Driver Schools. You don't need to take a separate licence for trucks. That's why we've seen Paul Rivette make the move into truck racing from cars. And here's our Division 2 leader, the Brown Recycling Limited MAN of Craig Evans. Now, can he hold on in front for his first ever victory in the category? He's had several podiums in the past, but has not taken a win. He's ahead of John Powell by 1.5 seconds at last count. Paul Rivette is 3rd in Division 2 ahead of Adam Bitts. Jim Bennett, of course, we saw have a spin early on. Simon Coles dropped back into the Division 2 runners as well. There's that truck of Craig Evans with the front bodywork loose after he ran wide early on. He has got ahead of Simon Faulkner's similar Iveco Stralis. I think that's an ex-Reed truck that he's driving, re-liveried for this year. Getting closer and closer for 2nd place now. Take a look at the lap times as they cross the line. 6 minutes of the race to go. Stuart Oliver does a 59.503, his personal best lap of the race. Yeah, Ryan Smith did a 59.9. He's being held up somewhat behind Simon Reed's Iveco. It's a slightly slower truck, that one, and he's going to be getting a little bit frustrated, although Ryan has dropped back slightly there, so maybe he had a moment on that last lap. You can see he's dropped back about a couple of lengths from Simon Reed, who's continuing to harry David Jenkins for 2nd place. David's father Tony was a truck racer before him, used to race an American-built Mack in the British Championship. Here's the battle further back for 9th place between John Bowler and Stephen Powell. Stephen went straight on into Druids for the first time in yesterday's race, unfortunately. Never mind that, because look at the way Simon Reed is going. He's right up alongside David Jenkins, but that's left the route through for Ryan Smith. He left the gap there, and Ryan says thank you very much, I'll go through for 3rd place. Now, it won't take him long to have a go at David Jenkins. They are arch rivals, these two. What's the gap to the leader? It's gone out to 3.1 seconds that time through. David Jenkins and Ryan Smith have had a big rivalry on track for several seasons now. And Ryan's moving to the inside. He's not hanging about here. He needs to get past David Jenkins if he's going to stand any chance of charging after Stuart Oliver. Bit of a twitch there coming off Druids. Just under 5 minutes of the race still to go. On board with Ryan Smith, he's on the tail of Jenkins. Is he going to have a look here going into Surtees? I don't think he'll be close enough. Great shot riding on board these trucks, thanks to Chris Clark for his help with the onboard cameras this weekend. Jenkins defending now. He wants to keep Ryan Smith behind him. Lead gap was 3.1 seconds. It's now gone, let's have a look as they go over the line. It's still 3.1 seconds. And Simon Reed's not finished yet. Look at the Iveco there, up alongside Ryan Smith, trying to go around the outside into Paddock Bend. And they've got back markers ahead of them now. Stuart Oliver's catching not only Jim Bennett, but Simon Cole as well, struggling a bit this weekend with his new acquisition, Eleanor, the pink and white MAN. Used to be sponsored by Team Hard of touring car fame. Simon Cole used to run the Mercedes Beast, as it was known, in Division 2. First full season in Division 1 this year. Ryan Smith still holding off Simon Reed. Stuart Oliver has got past the back markers on the Cooper straight there. No problem there. Here's the battle in Division 2. It's close between Evans and Powell. Powell only half a second behind now. Can the DAF, the Dutch machine, get ahead of the MAN? Look at this, the leader's weaving between the back markers. That looked pretty spectacular. Hasn't helped Ryan Smith's lap time though, he's lost a couple of seconds there. And in fact, they're all slower because of getting through the traffic. Less than 3 minutes to go now. Craig Evans still hanging on in the lead, looking for his first Division 2 win. In 13th place overall. Slightly smaller field in Division 2 this year. That's because several runners have moved up into Division 1. John Bowler and Jock Borthwick among them. Simon Cole as well. Still bodywork flapping there from Craig Reed's truck. There's Simon Faulkner coming through. Pick up the Division 2 leaders. Here they come. Just between these two now. Powell is 8 seconds clear of Adam Bint, who's up into 3rd place. Ahead of Paul Rivette. A couple of trucks getting the black and white flag. Numbers 10 and 6 is these two. Getting the driving standards flag, maybe for exceeding track limits. Reed gap is down to 1.745 seconds for Oliver ahead of Jenkins now. And Ryan Smith still with the fastest lap of the race. They're starting to close in on Stuart Oliver now. They know there's only a couple of laps left to run in this first British truck race of the day. We're on board with Ryan Smith. He's still behind Jenkins. You can see they're slightly closer to Stuart Oliver now. Looking back from Jenkins, there is Smith. Stunning looking Daimler Freightliner. Closer and closer all the time to the rear bumper of David Jenkins' MAN. Is Stuart Oliver going to be able to hold them off? Cloud of dust there, someone's been off. Not sure who it was. There's Paul Rivette, the Napa Racing MAN. Here's a battle between John Bowler, Stephen Powell, and they've been caught by the battered Iveco of Craig Reed. It's not long to go now. We may well be on the last lap now. We'll wait to see as the trucks come round on this lap. The clock is showing 0, but it's been playing up during this race, unfortunately, so we'll wait for the leaders to come into sight. There's Ryan Smith. We look back from David Jenkins, the gap was 1.6 seconds, so I think Stuart Oliver is going to hang on to take the win. If anything, Ryan Smith's dropping back slightly there from Jenkins. Here they come. Is it going to be checkered flag this time for Stuart Oliver, the man from the northeast, 10 times British champion, 1-time European champion. Here he comes then in the GT Tyres Volvo. Is it going to be checkered flag this time? It certainly is. There's the checkered flag. Stuart Oliver wins our first truck race of the day. David Jenkins second. Ryan Smith has to settle for third. Fourth, it is Simon Reed. Bradley Smith takes a good fifth position. Well done, Jock Borthwick, a fine sixth. His fellow Scotsman, Tom O'Rourke, in seventh. Eighth, it is Michael Oliver. Ninth over the line is going to be John Bowler, just ahead of Stephen Powell, Craig Reed and Simon Faulkner. What about Division 2? Where are the Division 2 trucks? They'll be coming round the final corner now. Is it going to be Craig Evans or John Powell who takes the victory in Division 2? They're coming towards us now. It looks like John Powell's got ahead of Craig Evans. In fact, they come over the line. Yes, it's John Powell. Powell has won it. Craig Evans, a slower lap there on the last lap. I'll wait to see if we can see where John Powell took the lead. Was it Evans who ran wide? We saw that cloud of dust at Paddock. It was. Oh, what a shame for Craig Evans. Losing the class win with just a couple of laps to go. What a disappointment for Craig Evans. I saw that cloud of dust. We didn't see the cause of it. And that's what happened. He just ran wide through Paddock, and John Powell takes his second Division 1 win of the weekend. Craig Evans still looking for his first ever Division 2 victory. Third place went to Adam Bint in Division 2 ahead of Paul Rivets, and then Simon Cole and Jim Bennett a lap down, completing the finishers. Well, pleasingly, everybody went the distance in race 3 of the weekend for the British Truck Racing Championship here on this Easter Sunday at Brands Hatch. It's a win for the great Stuart Oliver, taking the win by just over a second ahead of David Jenkins at the flag. Ryan Smith having to settle for third this time, so his unbeaten run comes to an end. Fourth for Simon Reed ahead of Bradley Smith, then Jock Borthwick. Better result this time for Tom O'Rourke after a trying weekend so far. Michael Oliver in 8th. John Bowler taking 9th, the pole starter. And 10th place for Stephen Powell. That result, incidentally, will set the grid for race 5 at the end of the weekend, so it looks like it'll be Michael Oliver on pole. Craig Reed and Simon Faulkner completing the top 12. And then the Division 2 results. Disaster for Craig Evans with a couple of laps left. It was John Powell who inherited the win. Evans second ahead of Adam Bint. And then the other finishers were Paul Rivett, Simon Cole and Jim Bennett.
Looks like he's getting out of the trucks. We might be able to have a quick chance to have a word with him. I'm going in, I don't care. Stuart, come on over. Fantastic result, well done. Congratulations. I believe they're shifting everybody on, but they're just getting someone in now. Incredible result. I completely, it's almost like I blinked and all of a sudden you were seconds ahead of the pack.
Yeah, I had a great start, you know. The start at Brands is always a little bit touch and go, and all credit to the boys in front. You know, they maybe haven't got the experience as this old lad, but I managed to get a good start, get through and kept in tight, because the outside on Paddock Hill is not the place to be, you know, so over the moon with that.
Absolutely fantastic effort, and the lead you kept the entire way through the race as well. You've got to be happy with that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you know, it was fairly comfortable. You know, I knew I had a 3.5 second gap with Dave, and I just kept it at that, and I just kept it going.
Oh.
And then,
Dave, great race for you as well. So we'll come and talk to you down in Park Fair, mate.
And I had a bit of a moment with Jim and Simon around the back there, and that's when they got up on us. And I thought, well, you know, but they had to get past them as well. So yeah, it was all right. I like that.
Fantastic effort. So it's a good start to Sunday. Not your first trophy of the weekend though, so that's good news as well.
Absolutely, yeah, you know, that's right. We've got a big trailer to take them all home in, so we'll just keep piling them up.
I'll say you got a few from last year as well, I think, so plenty of room left, yeah. Stuart, thanks very much for talking to us. Congratulations. Well, quite the start to Sunday here at Brands Hatch, but now moving into race 4, let's see who can make it stick.
The grid for this race based on race 2 yesterday, but with the top 8 positions in each division reversed. So it is Craig Reed, who finished 8th yesterday, who will take pole in truck number 68. 46 Bradley Smith alongside. Second row, number 3 Stephen Powell, the local man, and 32 Jock Borthwick, the Scotsman. Row 3, 89 Simon Reed, and alongside him David Jenkins. in the 69 truck. Row 4, number 7 Stuart Oliver, winner this morning, and number 1 Ryan Smith, double winner yesterday. He's got to come through from 8th this time. On row 5 it's number 14 John Bowler, number 12 Michael Oliver. Row 6, 86 of Tom O'Rourke. He failed to finish yesterday's race, went off into the gravel and suffered broken steering, unfortunately. Simon Cole missed race 2 yesterday. He starts alongside, as did number 92 Simon Faulkner. He failed to take the restart, so he starts at the back in the 92. That race, of course, was cut short because Ricky Collett suffered a blow-up in his 95 truck. We saw a spectacular blow-up down the Brabham Straight. He has withdrawn from the rest of the weekend, so won't be in this race. Then there's a gap, and we've got the Division 2 trucks. They'll start in reverse order as well. Jim Bennett's number 28 in the Seddon Atkinson will be at the front of them. Alongside him, number 22 of Paul Rivette. And it's Adam Bint, number 5, number 10 Craig Evans, and number 6 John Powell going for his 3rd win of the weekend from the back of the grid. Craig Evans so unlucky in this morning's race. He'd led Division 2 all the way, and then with a couple of laps to go ran wide at Paddock Hill Bend, went through the gravel, and John Powell went through to take the win. Watching the driver at work in the number 14 machine, John Bowler, his Division 1 debut this weekend. Craig Evans in the MAN. He's at the front of the Division 2 grid. The GT tyres 3-axle MAN leads them round. Craig Reed on pole, just 1 win in his Division 1 career so far. That was here at Brands Hatch the end of last season. Simon Reed alongside David Jenkins. There's John Bowler, our camera truck. We can see John at work during this race. There's Adam Bint in the Volvo. John Powell at the back of the Division 2 grid this time, going for his 3rd win in a row. Ryan Smith looking for win number 3 of the weekend. Stuart Oliver for his 2nd win. Are we going to see a new winner in Division 1 for this season? I reckon Stephen Powell might have a chance here from the 2nd row of the grid in the number 3. Repaired after that accident with Jock Borthwick yesterday up at Druids. Jim Bennett on pole in Division 2 in his almost classic Seddon Atkinson. Great to have Gentleman Jim and his team back in the championship this year. He's been greatly missed in the paddock. Craig Reed minus his front bumper after a bit of contact in, the front valance after a bit of contact in the race earlier on. Race 4 of the weekend then for the British Truck Racing Championship. Bit of steam coming from the water-cooled brakes on Adam Bint's truck. There is the DAF of John Powell at the back. The pace truck is into pit lane. Craig Reed and Bradley Smith on the front of this partially reversed grid. Can one of them hang on to take their first win of the season? 15 minutes of truck racing coming your way here at Brands Hatch in the sunshine on this Easter Sunday. The power comes on and away they rumble down towards Paddock Hill Bend. Good start by Craig Reed, the man from Stoke in the Iveco Stralis. Will lead into paddock for the first time. Good start by Stephen Powell there, just getting a bit of dust kicked up on the inside. They've all made it round paddock for the first time. Let's hope they make it around Druids. Craig Reed has the lead. Stephen Powell making a move up the inside, side by side with his old adversary from yesterday, Jock Borthwick. Simon Reed behind them. They've all made it round, I think. Great stuff. David Jenkins running a bit wide there. We're on board with Craig Evans, giving chase to Simon Cole in the number 41. We're having a few teething troubles with his MAN, known as Eleanor, this weekend. He certainly hasn't gone in 60 seconds just yet, though. Craig Reed has the lead, though. Over the curb, and straight off goes Simon Reed. Goodness me. Straight on he goes, misses the tyre wall. And it's a good job he stopped. They got the truck stopped there and didn't cannon back into the pack on the other side there as they came out of Clark Curves. That would have been disastrous. Somebody else running wide there, Jock Borthwick, kicking up the dust out of Clark Curve there. He's lost some ground. Now, was there contact between Jock Borthwick and Simon Reed? We'll wait and see if we can get a replay of that. Bradley Smith is in 3rd place behind Stephen Powell. Stuart Oliver's up to 4th and Ryan Smith is 5th. So it's Craig Reed from Stephen Powell. There's Bradley Smith in 3rd place. Let's hope Simon Reed can get going again. That's 89 truck. That was definitely a Code Brown moment there for Simon. Absolutely flying off Tom O'Rourke sideways there in the 86, just ahead of John Bowler. As they head down towards Graham Hill Bend for the 2nd time. See if we can see what happened there for Simon Reed. Something broke there. There was no contact. That was either a steering or brake failure. The truck just charged straight on. There was a scary moment indeed for Simon. Just went straight off there. No way he could slow the truck down. And he was very lucky. There was a lot of open space for that truck to come to a halt in. That could have been very nasty. I would imagine that's end of race for Simon. Tom O'Rourke under fire there from John Bowler in the number 14 down the pit straights. Bowler trying to get around the outside. It's still Craig Reed with the lead ahead of Stephen Powell. Stuart Oliver is up into third place ahead of Ryan Smith. Bradley Smith has dropped back in the number 46. Now he's come through only in 11th place overall. Yeah, there he is, so he's had a moment somewhere as well. Jock Borthwick under fire from his fellow Scotsman, Tom O'Rourke. Leading Division 2, meanwhile, is Adam Bint. He's up in 10th place overall, the black Volvo. We've lost Simon Reed. Wait to see if he gets going again. Ryan Smith onto the tail of Stuart Oliver, the two bonneted trucks together. Ahead of David Jenkins. They're chasing down Stephen Powell now for second place in the number 3, the HGV Direct MAN. On board with Craig Evans, back in the Division 2 pack. He's currently showing us 4th in Division 2 with John Powell ahead of him. Coming up on Simon Cole in the Division 1 machine. Simon's still just getting used to his new MAN as Craig Evans goes through. Adam Bint still leads Division 2 ahead of Paul Rivett incidentally, and now Ryan Smith has caught Stuart Oliver. They've got ahead of Stephen Powell coming through Paddock and Druids there, so up into second and third places. Now down to the business of trying to catch Craig Reed for the lead. Craig looking for his second Division 1 victory of his career. He's slightly light in Iveco. Again, he runs wide there, coming out of Surtees into McLaren. That's as wide as his brother went over the grass. Number 3 and 4th place, Stephen Powell. Then we've got David Jenkins. So the cream rising to the top in Division 1. Next in the order is Michael Oliver Jr. in a good 6th position, his best run of the weekend so far. Here comes David Jenkins up the inside into Paddock Hill Bend, past Stephen Powell, up into 4th place. Now Craig Reed will be able to see these two in his mirrors, Oliver and Smith. He needs to keep a cool head here, try and hold them off for his first win of the season, his second of his Division 1 career, the former Division 2 champion. That was in 2021. There's Michael Oliver, Tom O'Rourke, Jock Borthwick, then John Bowler. And there's Adam Bint, the Division 2 leader, by a fairly clear margin at the moment as well. 5.5 seconds near enough over Paul Rivett. Borthwick makes a move at Surtees, goes past Tom O'Rourke into 7th. That's just Jock Borthwick running in the colours of My Name's Doddy, charity set up by Scottish rugby legend Doddy Weir to raise money for motor neurone disease, to which he very sadly succumbed at the end of last year. And a young supporter, Holly, was touring the circuits with Jock Borthwick and his team, riding her bicycle around the circuits to raise money as well. Tom O'Rourke retaking the place there down the straights, and they've caught the race leader. Craig Reed coming under a bit of pressure now from Stuart Oliver. Ryan Smith dodging about in that 3rd place. They're starting to stack up now behind the Iveco, you can see. David Jenkins is 4th. Stephen Powell hanging on to the lead group in 5th as well. Ryan Smith wants to get past Stuart Oliver here. Oliver defeated him in the first race today, race 3 of the weekend. He's all over the back of the Volvo VNL. Similar looking machine, but Ryan Smith's the Daimler Freightliner, run by Worldwide Truck Racing, based in Nottinghamshire. I'm sure Ryan would dearly love to contest the European Truck Racing Championship as well, which sadly doesn't visit the UK anymore. It all comes down to budgets. Bradley Smith's been into the pits, so he did have a problem. That's a great shame for the man who started on the front row. His fellow front row starter still hanging on to the lead. Now Stuart Oliver looking ready to attack, but he's got to be mindful that Ryan Smith is there as well. Smith dodges to the outside. Stuart Oliver moves to cover. Here comes David Jenkins. Oh, Craig Reed's run wide, coming out of Druids. This is Oliver's opportunity. If he can get up alongside, he'll never go round the outside of Graham Hill Bend, surely. Still side by side. If Oliver keeps his foot in, he could take the lead down the straight. Yes, he's done it. Stuart Oliver leads. Craig Reed moving to cover there, but I don't think he'll stop Ryan Smith getting through at Surtees. No, Smith's going to go through into second place, and Jenkins could get third as well. No, Reed able to defend from Jenkins. He's down to third, and it's Oliver versus Smith for the lead now. Still plenty of time to go in this fourth race of the weekend for the British Truck Racing Championship at Brands Hatch. See how much time there is to go as they come up over the line. Just over 7.5 minutes, so we're coming up towards half distance. And here comes Ryan Smith, here comes David Jenkins up on the outside as well. Ryan Smith is not holding back, he's going for the lead. Round the outside of Stuart Oliver, back to the inside. He's driving the truck like a touring car. David Jenkins to the inside on Craig Reed. He's surely going to go through here for third place at Druids. Yes, he's done it. Achievement to get 2 cars side by side successfully through Druids, never mind 2 trucks. Stephen Powell still 5th, Michael Oliver still 6th, and now here comes Ryan Smith. Is he going to have a look at Surtees? No, he's not. Not quite close enough that time. 7 laps in the book. Black and white flags being shown to a couple of trucks, the 69 of David Jenkins, number 10 of Craig Evans as well in Division 2. Still Adam Bint who leads Division 2, but Paul Rivette has closed the gap slightly. Now, David Jenkins ran a bit wide there in third place, but the leaders are coming up on Jim Bennett to put a lap on the Seth Atkinson. Bradley Smith back in the pits. Unfortunately, a cloud of steam from his MAN. Looks like some issues there. That's a great shame for the young gun. Ryan Smith up the outside. Now Jim Bennett needs to check his mirrors here. The slower Seth Atkinson about to be lapped, and they've met him not in the best place for them here. They may have to wait until no, they won't have to wait until the straight to pass him. He moves aside, lets him through. Good driving by Gentleman Jim. Stuart Oliver continues to lead. David Jenkins still third. Craig Reed still there in fourth place, the early leader. Stephen Powell rounding up the top 5. A better run from him this time after a tough start to his weekend with that crash in the first race yesterday. Ryan Smith on the tail of Stuart Oliver over the line. David Jenkins, incidentally, has got the fastest lap of the race, 59.773. Here's the Division 2 leader, Adam Bint, looking for win number 2 this weekend. On board with Craig Evans. He's 4th in the division, behind John Powell ahead there in the DAF. 2nd ahead of them, Paul Rivette, a better run for his MAN, this time the Napa Racing truck. The other Division 2 runner, of course, is Jim Bennett. He's been lapped. I believe Simon Reed is still running as well in truck number 89. He did get going, but he's a lap or 2 down as Ryan Smith. Oh, he tried a move there by the look of it. He's gone wide at Graham Hill Bend. What happened there? David Jenkins up alongside him. I saw something fly up into the air. Was there contact there between Oliver and Smith? Yeah, Smith's still on the wide line. Throws the truck back across in front of David Jenkins. You know these two are deadly rivals. He does not want to let Jenkins by. But he's going to have to through Clark Curve there. Yeah, Jenkins up alongside, he's going to go through. Is there damage to Ryan Smith's truck? It suddenly seems not to be handling as well. Was there contact there with Stuart Oliver we didn't see going into Graham Hill Bend? Try and get a replay of that if we can, hopefully. Whether there was contact, but suddenly Ryan Smith lost pace on that lap. Only a couple of seconds. It's enough to drop him back. He's back up the inside though on David Jenkins into Druids. He goes through. He'll be fired up now, Ryan Smith. Did he just try a lunge at Stuart Oliver and it didn't work and he ran wide? Through the left-hander. Coming towards the closing stages now. Let's have a look again. Ryan Smith was up behind Stuart Oliver coming down to Graham Hill Bend. I think he almost clipped the back of him, but he didn't expect Oliver to go so wide into the corner, and Ryan Smith had to lift off, or maybe he did just clip the back of Stuart Oliver then. Someone into the pit. Oh, is that Craig Reed? It's one of the Reed trucks coming in. Is that Craig or Simon? No, it's Simon. There's Craig. Possible to tell those two Ificos apart from a distance. Meanwhile, Michael Oliver moving into 5th position past Stephen Powell. Possibly Stephen Powell's truck still a bit battered and bruised after his accident yesterday. Michael Oliver was caught up in that. Well, as I say, that Powell retakes the place into Druids. Good scrap between these two. Behind them, Jock Borthwick and Tom O'Rourke. Still leading Division 2 in 10th overall is Adam Bint. See the damage on those two trucks from that wallop into Druids yesterday. Simon Reed has finally brought the Iveco in. He did get going in after that scary moment on the first lap when he went flying across the grass. Now, Ryan Smith has just done the new fastest lap of the race, 59.716. Can he get up alongside Stuart Oliver? Over the line they go. There's less than 3 minutes of this race to go now. Simon Cole and John Powell have been given the black and white warning flag for driving standards. There's Adam Bint in that menacing looking black Volvo Aerodyne. With Craig Evans. The Division 2 pack definitely closing up. See there, Paul Rivett is being hunted down by John Powell. They're coming up, I think, to lap somebody there as well, as Michael Oliver again takes Stephen Powell. On board with John Bowler. John working the wheel. One hand on the wheel, one hand on the gear lever. Even throw these trucks around driving with just one hand on the wheel. Incredible. Meanwhile, flying Ryan Smith has got the gap right down on Stuart Oliver. He's having a look on the outside here as they come up over the line this time. What's the gap going to be? There's less than 2 minutes left on the clock now. They get 2 more laps out of this, and now Ryan knows it's time to attack. He goes to the outside into Paddock Hill Bend. David Jenkins watching on in 3rd place. Throws it to the outside again. Trying to confuse Stuart Oliver. Which side is he going to go? Stuart Oliver, immensely experienced. Racing trucks since the 1990s. He's a 10-time champion, one-time European champion as well. Again, right on the rear bumper of the number 7 Volvo. There, Ryan Smith is going to try and pull out and go for the lead. This is it as they come down towards Surtees. Oliver squeezes him almost onto the grass. No, you don't, says Stuart Oliver. This is great racing between these two. Where is Ryan Smith going to make his move? They're coming round to start what I think will be their last lap this time. David Jenkins has been able to close up as well. We could be in for a grandstand finish here. Here they come. Smith's lost a little bit of momentum as a result of that. And he was squeezed towards the grass, yet less than a minute on the clock, so this is the last lap. Into Paddock Hill Bend. Stuart Oliver, the man from Hexham in Northumberland. Ryan Smith from Mansfield in Nottinghamshire. David Jenkins from Stafford. What can Ryan Smith do? Closes up again. This is where he's stronger. So getting up alongside or on the tail is one thing, passing is another. Stuart Oliver, you can see it moving to defend as they come down towards Graham Hill Bend. Is it going to be win number 2 for Stuart Oliver? This would tie the score at 2 wins apiece for the weekend. The decider will be race 5. With Craig Evans over the line and challenging John Powell for a podium place in Division 2. Here they come into the final couple of corners. I don't think Ryan Smith's going to do it. I think he's going to have to settle for 2nd place. Stuart Oliver gets his foot down. Ryan Smith will try and get up alongside. He'll try the outside run, but he's not going to do it. Stuart Oliver takes win number 2 of the weekend. Ryan Smith 2nd, David Jenkins 3rd, covered by less than 1.5 seconds of the line. And well done, Craig Reed, a fine 4th place. Further back, Michael Oliver, his best finish of the season so far in 5th. Stephen Powell in 6th, then Tom O'Rourke, Jock Borthwick and John Bowler. And here comes Adam Bint, the Oxfordshire driver in the older Volvo. Is going to come in to take the win in Division 2. 3.5 seconds clear of Paul Rivett. He's led Division 2 all the way. We're on board with Craig Evans. He chases them home. Bint takes a clear win in Division 2. Paul Rivett gets his best results of the season in 2nd, and John Powell just holds off Craig Evans to take 3rd. They were the last trucks on the lead lap. Behind them, Simon Cole a lap down. Jim Bennett's. Simon Reed should come in as well. Trademark sideways celebration from Adam Bint. Shades of Kurt Goranson, who took so many wins in a Volvo similar to that in the late 80s and early 90s. Just one retirement there. We lost Bradley Smith with the technical problems, sadly. Well, some highlights from that race. It was Craig Reed who led early on. Brother Simon almost went flying. A scary moment for the Iveco pilot. Craig Reed then ran wide coming through Druids, and he held the lead for a few laps. That was all the invitation Stuart Oliver needed round the outside into Graham Hill Bend to get up alongside, then put his foot down along the Cooper Straight to take the lead. It wasn't long before Ryan Smith and David Jenkins were through as well. Ryan Smith trying his hardest from there on in to chase Stuart Oliver for the lead. Oliver drawing on all his years of experience and guile to hang on in front all the way. Good drive by Stuart Oliver. Ryan Smith got closest through Graham Hill Bend, but had to run wide to avoid the back of Oliver, else it could have taken them both out. And it was Stuart Oliver who went on to victory ahead of Smith and Jenkins, covered by 1.4 seconds at the line. Craig Reed in fourth ahead of Michael Oliver. Good result for him. Good battle with Stephen Powell. Tom O'Rourke seventh, battling fellow Scotsman Jock Borthwick. John Bowler taking ninth, and well done Adam Bint, second win of the weekend in Division 2. Paul Rivette behind him ahead of John Powell and Craig Evans, then Simon Cole and Jim Bennett a lap down, completing the top 15. Simon Reed did get going again after a visit to the pits. He was the only other finisher because Bradley Smith sadly dropped out. Let's head down to Pointy in pit lane.
Welcome down to the pit lane here at Brands Hatch, where once more this weekend, Mr. Stuart Oliver, let me give you a pat on the back, sir. I can't believe I'm talking to you again with Ryan Smith snipping at your heels that entire race pretty much. I believe that's not meant to happen, but it's okay, you're outside the truck, you didn't stall it. We just wanted a bit more airtime for the side, didn't we?
Right, yeah, just a bit more,
That's it, yeah. So, Stuart, tell us, the pressure you must have been under to keep Ryan back the second half of that race. It was so close.
Yeah, I knew he was there, but I knew Dave was behind him, and Dave wouldn't be giving him any grace, so I was sort of playing it a little bit. But no, he was there without a doubt, but I enjoyed it. That's what we come for, you know what I mean? That's proper good.
That was a real race, that was. And we saw as you managed to get sliding past Craig Reed, everybody up there was like, oh wow, he's done him. Here we go, let's welcome in Ryan Smith.
It was so good fun, that brilliant drive.
Yes, come on.
That was great to watch from where I was standing.
I bet it was, yeah, I tell you. But some great driving from all three of you, weaving through the Division 2s, lapping a couple of those guys at the tail end of the pack as well.
I was attacking Stuart, Dave was attacking me. He didn't put a foot wrong, so where can I go? We have to be patient, and you know what? That's what we signed up to race for. He was on me. He was defending from me, but not at a slow pace, by the way.
No,
it was
it was
fast
fast
pace,
yeah.
so no, delighted. Stuart, well done.
And Dave, lots of pressure, putting Ryan under that entire second half of the race. You were having a bit of trouble with traffic at one point, weren't you?
Yeah, it was just a typical truck race, wasn't it? We had a little bit of traffic, and ultimately the reason I couldn't keep going forward with these guys is I haven't just quite got that last missing 2/10 at the moment, but as soon as they tripped over each other, I was on them able to think about a move again, but we need to just find a little bit more speed.
So as you can see, the grid walk is clearing out quite quickly now here on the grid at Brands Hatch, just in time for race 5 of the weekend, the last British truck racing action we'll see here at Brands Hatch.
Let's have a look at the grid then for our final race of the day. This was the race of the day for the British Truck Racing Championship. This grid is based on the race this morning, race 3 with the top 8 in Division 1 reverse. So it's Michael Oliver, number 12, on pole position alongside 86 Tom O'Rourke. Finally gets a decent start on the grid this weekend. Jock Borthwick on row 2, number 32 alongside 46 Bradley Smith. Hopefully he's ironed out his gremlins from the last race. Simon Reed, 89 on row 3. Ryan Smith on the outside of the third row in the number 1. And then David Jenkins and Stuart Oliver. Ryan Smith and Stuart Oliver, 2 wins apiece so far this weekend. Row 5, number 14, John Bowler, alongside 3 of Stephen Powell. Then Craig Reed in the 68, 92 of Simon Faulkner. Simon Cole, we're told, won't be starting. Unfortunately, the 41 truck, he's had some teething problems with that. And yes, he's not there at the back of the field. Not sure if Simon Faulkner's there either, so we'll wait until it's confirmed on that. Division 2, Jim Bennett, number 28, heads up the grid alongside the 22 of Paul Rivette. Then Adam Bint, number 5, and Craig Evans in the number 10. John Powell, number 6, at the back of the field. It's Craig Evans out of luck in the race this morning. Ran wide while leading the class, let John Powell through. 2 wins apiece for Adam Bint and John Powell. Will we see one of those two take a hat trick, or will we see a new winner? Ryan Smith or Stuart Oliver take a hat-trick in Division 1, or will we see a new winner? Here we go. Final truck race of the weekend. This will be a 15-minute race. Gap in the grid, one of our YouTube commenters has asked. That's because there are two divisions. Division 2 are the second group, slightly less powerful trucks. On board with Ryan Smith. We head up towards Druids under the Burton Power Bridge. Start from the third row of the grid. Simon Reed and Bradley Smith ahead of us. Bradley Smith, no relation to Ryan. Bradley's father Tony did used to compete. I remember him racing a Finnish built Sisu a few years ago. Bradley Smith, not to be confused with Brad Smith, who's raced in Division 2 over the last few seasons, but not on the grid this year. Pace truck leads them round. Final time this weekend. Michael Oliver and Tom O'Rourke on the front row of the grid. A marvellous weekend it has been. The big rigs are back in 2023. Revs beginning to rise from these 12 and 13 litre turbocharged engines. When Smith guides the number 1 Daimler Freightliner around. They're in line 2 by 2. Here we go. Tension mounts. The revs start to rise. Pace truck is in pit lane. Michael Oliver and Tom O'Rourke lead them up towards the red lights. The power is unleashed and away we go down towards Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. Good start by Tom O'Rourke from the outside in number 86. Looks like he's going to take up the lead. Oh, they've tangled. The two front row men go off and wallop straight in we go. Oh dear. Michael Oliver and Tom O'Rourke into the barriers. That's surely going to be a red flag instantly. Yep, the red flag is out straight away. Let's hope both the drivers are okay. Well, that just about sums up Tom O'Rourke's weekend. So he's had a terrible weekend. And Michael Oliver as well. Let's hope both those trucks have escaped without too much damage. Let's hope both the drivers are okay. It's tricky to see there with the cloud of dust that went up. Let's have a look again. Two front row men tried to go for the same piece of tarmac. They were right together even as the red lights went out. O'Rourke tried to go around the outside, but he wasn't quite clear of Michael Oliver as he turned in. He comes across, there's the contact. They can't get away from each other, and then wallop. Big cloud of dust, tricky to see. Have a look from the reverse angle here, if we can. Watch the front row as they come down towards Paddock Hill Bend. There's the contact as O'Rourke turned across Oliver. Big impact into the end of the tyre wall. O'Rourke's truck lucky not to tip over onto its side there. The grid is formed up then. No Michael Oliver or Tom O'Rourke, so it's Jock Borthwick and Bradley Smith leading them round, then Simon Reed and Ryan Smith. And this is likely to play into the hands of Ryan Smith, I would think, but David Jenkins and Stuart Oliver on the next row will have something to say about that. Then it's John Bowler and Stephen Powell. Craig Reed behind them, no Simon Faulkner or Simon Cole. Then we've got the Division 2 boys, Jim Bennett, Paul Rivett, Adam Bint, Craig Evans and John Powell at the back. 12 minutes for the British Truck Racing Championships finale here this weekend at Brands Hatch on this season opener on Easter Sunday. I would say Ryan Smith from 4th on the grid will start as the favourite for a hat-trick of wins here. Jock Borthwick looking for his first Division 1 win. Bradley Smith likewise alongside him. Two each for Adam Bint and John Powell in Division 2 so far. The DAF Pace truck makes its way into pit lane. Well done to everyone once again involved in the clean-up. Thank Hopefully the drivers involved are okay. And here we go with our final truck race of the weekend. 12 minutes of racing coming your way. Jock Borthwick and Bradley Smith to lead them away. Here we go. Down towards that first corner, we're on board with Ryan Smith. He'll slot in behind Simon Reed as they move into the first turn. Bradley Smith trying to go around the outside. Drivers taking it fairly carefully through Paddock Bend that time. And away they go up towards Druids Hill Bend for the first time. Jock Borthwick has the lead in number 32. Bradley Smith in second, then Simon Reed, Ryan Smith, David Jenkins and Stuart Oliver. John Bowler gets leaned wide there by Stephen Powell. Craig Reed in behind them. Board again with flying Ryan Smith. They swing their way through the left-hander at Graham Hill Bend. See, Ryan has the steering wheel set fairly high there, working the wheel as he heads down towards Cooper Straight. Still in fourth place. Need to get past Simon Reed in the 89. It's past the point where he went flying off earlier on today. The Reed trucks, you still can't tell them apart because they're now both missing their front bumpers. Jock Borthwick leads from Bradley Smith then. They come round to complete the opening lap. 69 of David Jenkins tucked in fifth place ahead of Stuart Oliver, so they're largely in grid order so far. Board with Ryan Smith up to full speed now as they head down towards Paddock Hill Bend. A little bit of a slide there from Simon Reed ahead of him. Now can Jock Borthwick hang on in front for a Division 1 win on his debut weekend in the category? Bradley Smith had a couple of podiums last year, the young gun. Who's leading Division 2? Looks like Paul Rivets has come through. Indeed he has, to take the lead in Division 2 ahead of Adam Bintz. It's John Powell in third, Craig Evans in fourth. Jim Bennett has already dropped back in the almost vintage Seddon Atkinson. Or trucks line astern in Division 2 and even more line astern in Division 1. Ryan Smith is on the attack on the back of the 89 of Simon Reed. The Daimler Freightliner on the back of the Iveco. You can see how low set that truck is compared to its rivals there. Coming round to complete their second lap of this 12-minute race. Borthwick does a 59.473. He and Bradley Smith have eked out a bit of an advantage here. They're about 1.5 seconds clear of Simon Reed in third. The quicker runners, the big three really, are Ryan Smith, David Jenkins and Stuart Oliver. They're rather bottled up in the traffic at the moment behind Simon Reed. It's Stephen Powell. Here's a challenge in Division 2. John Powell had a look at the inside of Adam Bint there into Druids. Great shot there as they come through the right-hander. Paul Rivett in the Napa MAN has the lead. Craig Evans in fourth place, but Craig much more on the pace this weekend than we saw last season. Really worked hard on his MAN over the winter. Ryan Smith still unable to take third place. There's John Bowler holding off Craig Reed. Former Division 2 rivals, now scrapping in Division 1. It's been a good consistent weekend for John Bowler on his debut in the division. Over the line they go. Borthwick half a second ahead of Bradley Smith. Simon Reed still third. There's Jim Bennett. He's picking up points, slow and steady in Division 2. Well, they say to finish first you have to finish. You never know, he could be in the championship reckoning through consistency at the end of the season with a relatively small entry in Division 2 this season. Simon Reed from Ryan Smith, still the battle for third place. We've been there before. Still Borthwick and Bradley Smith going clear. A little bit of a lock-up there from Jock Borthwick as he came into clearways. There's not as many laps in this race, of course, not as much time, and Paul Rivette's dropped back in Division 2. John Powell's come through. So Rivette's down to third place and Adam Bint to fourth. Has there been some contact in there, I wonder? And Adam Bint, he's having a go at, there was certainly contact there, he's having a go at Paul Rivette. Now have they tangled up further round the lap, because these two were first and second in Division 2 a lap ago, so what's happened there? And John Powell's just taken the lead of the class. Let's see if we can see what's happened. Here it is at Druids. Well, John Powell's already gone through there ahead of Craig Evans, so it must have happened at the very beginning of the lap. So Powell must have got through at Paddock Hill Bend. Change for the lead in Division 2. They're closing back up now. Bint's got back ahead of Paul Rivette at Paddock that time. It's now John Powell. There's the DAF, the Dutch-built machine, leading Division 2 now. Borthwick still leads overall, but he's only half a second ahead of Bradley Smith. Simon Reed still holding off Ryan Smith, who's just done the fastest lap of the race, 59.156. 4 laps completed. Just under 7 minutes of the race to go. John Powell looking for win number 3 in Division 2 this weekend to take the lead of the championship provisionally. Here are the Division 1 leaders, and Ryan Smith's got past Simon Reed. That was at the end of the previous lap. He's up to 3rd. Now Bradley Smith's going to have to work hard to hold him off here. Oh, Jock Borthwick's gone wide, coming out of... thought he was going to spin there, coming out of Druids. This is going to let Bradley Smith attack for the lead. No, Borthwick's held it. That was a dicey moment there. I thought Jock Borthwick was going to go spinning into the tyre wall. Here comes Ryan Smith. I said he'd make short work of Bradley. Surely it's only a matter of time before he takes Jock Borthwick for the lead. Now that's MAN is not handling well. Simon Reed back up the inside. Bradley Smith's going to fall back now, I think. Here comes Ryan Smith once again. Not going to take him long to get through here. He's on the inside line going down into Paddock Hill Bend. No, Jock Borthwick holds him off this time. Simon Reed's going for 3rd on the inside of the 46 of Bradley Smith. Behind them, Jenkins and Oliver. Bit of contact there as they come up the hill towards Druids. We're on board with Ryan Smith. He's surely going to go through. They think it's all over. It is now. And Ryan Smith takes the lead. I said it wouldn't take him long. Took him around a lap to get through once he dealt with Simon Reed. And once again, the 7 times champion sets off in front. Looking back from Craig Reed, a bit further back, he's running in 8th place. John Bowler behind him. Started at the back of the Division 1 grid. Borthwick still up there in 2nd, then Simon Reed. Bradley Smith still holding 4th, to his credit there, but how long before Jenkins and Stuart Oliver move up to challenge? They've got clear of Stephen Powell. Division 2 still led by John Powell. Less than 5 minutes to go now. And Adam Bint, meanwhile, has caught the number 6 of John Powell. So we're not finished yet in Division 2. There's Paul Rivett 3rd, and have we lost Craig Evans? We'll pick that up shortly. Evans has dropped behind Paul Rivett. This is the battle for the lead now. These two have been the top men in Division 2 all weekend. Paul Rivett further back in 3rd. Yeah, Craig Evans has dropped quite a long way behind. He is still there. And here comes Adam Bint. He's never going to get around the outside at Graham Hill Bend. You can't do that in a car, barely, never mind a truck. He might have him here, though. On the run up Cooper Straits. Can he get the nose down the inside into Surtees? This is going to be interesting. He's going through, surely. He's got the inside for the left-hander. No, you don't, says John Powell. Bit of wheel banging. Would you want to be wheel banging in 2 5-ton trucks at that speed? And John Powell's held the lead. Brave men, these drivers. Or completely mad, or both. Well, Ryan Smith's clearing off into the lead now. He's already 3.5 seconds up. 58.449. He's just done the fastest lap of the race. 3.5 minutes to go. The main focus is this scrap in Division 2. Here comes Adam Bint again. Now, if he can stay alongside here at Druids, he might get the inside line for Graham Hill Bend this time. He's trying it. No, you don't, says Powell again. Moves across him. Down the hill. Still John Powell soaking up the pressure from Adam Bint in the older Volvo. Along Cooper Straight once again. 3 trucks getting the black and white flag. Craig Evans, Craig Reed and Ryan Smith. Still this battle rages on. Ryan Smith's away and gone now. He's 5 seconds up now on Jock Borthwick, who's still holding off Simon Reed for 2nd. They've got Bradley Smith and David Jenkins down there. Here's the battle for 2nd, and Simon Reed could be about to make a move here into Druids for 2nd place in the Iveco. There he goes, up the inside, and he's through. Simon Reed into 2nd place, but look at the lead that Ryan Smith has got. He's in a different league. Once he's clear of the traffic, he just clears off. Bradley Smith going well in the 46. Could he get on the podium here? He can get ahead of Borthwick. Still these two side by side. Nothing to choose between John Powell and Adam Bint. And despite a couple less entries this season, it is going to be an interesting battle in Division 2, I think, this year for the title. Down the hill. Into Graham Hill Bend once again. Bint cuts back to the inside. Now he's got a run on John Powell. He's got the inside line. Is he going to go through this time? He's got to get it done before they go into Surtees. Yes, he's done it. Nice move. Adam Bint's been trying to do that for about 3 laps. Ryan Smith's just going quicker and quicker. He's at a 58.143 this time. 6.5 seconds ahead. And here's the battle further back. Jock Borthwick is getting more and more sideways in that MAN as he tries to hold onto a podium place. And bash! Oh dear. Tried to turn across there. Bradley Smith, David Jenkins, Stuart Oliver, Stephen Powell all take avoiding action. Great cloud of tyre smoke. And that just about sums up Jock Borthwick's weekend, unfortunately. Been a trying debut in Division 1. He got sideways there, tried to turn it back. Bradley Smith couldn't avoid him. So who's that going to give third place to? We'll wait and see. I think Bradley Smith is still there. Poor Jock Borthwick, he was trying so hard to hold on for a podium. Yes, Bradley Smith is still in third place. But it's going to be Ryan Smith to take yet another victory. We're on the last lap, I think, now. Possibly might get one more out of it after this one. We'll check as they cross the line. Ryan's away and gone. He's only 7 seconds clear of Simon Reed in the Iveco. Everybody else delayed behind by that spin for Jock Borthwick. Contact with Bradley Smith. Here he comes across the stripe. There will be one more lap to go. Just a few seconds left as he crosses the line. Well, it's been a story of the bonneted trucks this weekend at the sharp end of the field. 2 wins for Stuart Oliver, and it's going to be 3 for the 7-time consecutive champion. And it's also going to be 3 for another bonneted truck by the look of it in Division 2. They'll all want them soon. Here comes Ryan Smith, the Northside Truck and Van Limited Daimler Freightliner, run by Worldwide Truck Racing and driven by Ryan Smith from Mansfield in Nottinghamshire, the undisputed king of British truck racing. Didn't take him long to make his way into the lead once he got past Simon Reed. And he's coming in for win number 3 this weekend. 2 wins earlier today for Stuart Oliver, but Ryan Smith will set the record straight. It's going to be 3-2 between the 2 rivals. Ryan Smith crosses the line, takes the victory. Celebration at all from Ryan and the cab there. Second place goes to Simon Reed, and well done Bradley Smith, a fine third place. Stuart Oliver 4th ahead of David Jenkins. Stephen Powell is 6th, and these 2 still battling in Division 2. Craig Reed 7th, John Bowler 8th. The unfortunate Jock Borthwick will take 9th. For 10th overall, it's going to be Adam Bint. He's going to hold off John Powell. Here they come. What a great fight these 2 have had. It's 3-2 in favour of Adam Bint over John Powell. Paul Rivett comes over in 3rd. 4th will be Craig Evans. And Jim Bennett completes the finishes. Provisional results of that one then. Ryan Smith taking the victory ahead of Simon Reed by 6.5 seconds, and he got the fastest lap as well. Bradley Smith, a good 3rd, his first podium of the season, ahead of Stuart Oliver, David Jenkins, with Stephen Powell in 6th position. 7th goes to Craig Reed ahead of John Bowler, then Jock Borthwick in 9th after spinning away a podium position after contact with Brad Smith. Adam Bint just taking the win in Division 2 by less than a second from John Powell, Paul Rivett, Craig Evans and Jim Bennett. A couple of trucks missing for that one, of course. Michael Oliver and Tom O'Rourke didn't take the restarts.
Well, we got there eventually, and that of course brings the racing to an end. But let's go and have a word with Bradley Smith in position 3. A fantastic result for Bradley. Come on down. As I said earlier on, one of the youngest drivers in the championship, and he's just pulled a 3rd place First trophy of the year, first trophy of the weekend. Team are very happy with him, as you can see. Let's get in and round. They've obviously got to unstrap him. Team want to congratulate him. High fives. Right. Oh, we've got the bark, hats and bottles of bubbly for the top three, obviously. Fantastic. Come on round a second, Dad.
Let me just melt that and I'll get it out of the way.
All right then, there we go. It's all happening. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This is what live TV is all about, people. Cameraman almost getting knocked out. Great shot of the back end of Bradley there. Bradley, how the devil are we? First trophy of the season, that's got to feel great.
Yeah, no, it's a good way to finish a good weekend really. We tried to finish every race, but unfortunately last race we had a burst handbrake pipe, so put the handbrake on, which put the brakes on fire. But yeah, to finish on the podium, sorry for Jock. Have a little love nudge down the bottom there, but yeah, it was good. The trucks were brilliant all weekend. A big thank you to Tim, Tom and Melanie at Unit 8 Motorsport for all the help, the shots. It's brilliant people, brilliant advice.
Tim and Melanie, believe it or not, were actually at my wedding. They're great friends of mine, yeah. Really nice people. Unit 8 Motorsport's big in Europe as well, isn't it?
Oh yeah, brilliant. Yeah, we've got Albacetti, a brilliant driver, and great team. Brilliant at what they do, and yes. Brilliant.
Looks like they put some magic into your Ferns truck then.
Oh yes, yeah.
Right, thank you very much, Bradley. We better get you out of the way and the rest of the pit, of course. Let's head back over here out of the way to give those trucks chance. Very well done to Bradley, and of course, what a finish. I mean, the second restart, or the first restart of that race went very well. We had a little bit of a bump between Paul Rivett and Adam Bint near the end of that one, but fingers crossed, they're all still friends. I think we're going to head back down to Parc Fermé now, do some post-race interviews and hopefully hand out some trophies for the last race here at Brands Hatch. Well, it's post-race, race 5, all said and done for Ryan Smith, and what a way to finish the weekend.
Delighted. Friday morning, last week, last 2 weeks, last 3 months, building that truck. All credit must go to the mechanics. We've got here, we've done the business. I'm leaving delighted, absolutely thrilled.
Fantastic, and what a great bit of racing action for spectators, a lot of which it's their first time seeing the British trucks.
The turnout was amazing. Again, the crowd, just new faces keep coming, but I just want to give a shout out to you, Robert, and I'll tell you why. Every time I see you, you get better with interacting with people, and I think you're a credit to Championship, sir.
Well, that's very nice of you to say, Ryan. Thank you very much. And thank you all for joining us. Thanks, Ryan. We'll let you go home now, and we'll see you at Pembury, of course. Well, as you can see and hear behind me, drivers are back in trucks making their way back to their tents to pack up and go home. It's certainly been a fantastic and, let's say, eventful start to the 2023 season here at Brands Hatch for the British Truck Racing Championships. That's all we've got time for now, though, so please do have a great month, and we'll see you back at Pembury, South Wales.